Hey guys, it's Dave and welcome to the Weird Kid Show. It's awesome having you here today. So I got this lamp. I saw it at a thrift store and immediately I'm like, yep, I know what I'm gonna do with that. Okay, it's hollow, but it's solid wood. It's real wood. It's not a veneer wood. This is solid wood. Okay. Now, I love my mad scientist contraptions. I'm a huge fan of Kenneth Strickfaden. That's the gentleman who made all the electrical devices and props for a lot of the old Universal horror pictures. So I want to do something along the lines of that, but because I'm going to piece all kinds of bizarre things onto this lamp, I'm going to call this the Frankenstein lamp, okay? So the first thing that I want to do, I want to get rid of that tag. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a hole right here. A few months ago I had picked up this gauge. I love gauges. I'm a sucker for gauges. This is an older one made by Supreme. I love gauges, man. There's nothing that says mad scientist contraption more than a gauge. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut and get this bad boy set inside. It'll also give me a chance to see what's inside because we're going to be adding some lighting to it. Okay, we're going to get to that. I'm not going to jump ahead. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead, cut this, and get this thing fitted in there. All right, so hang tight. It's awesome having you here. Check this out. Alright guys, and we're back, and I was fooled. This is not wood. It's like a composite resin. It sure fooled me. It sure looks like wood. But no, it's resin. And our gauge fits, but I had a little mishap there. Because we have that pole in the middle for the electric, for the light bulb, I couldn't countersink the blade from my jigsaw. So I had to put a piece of wood on here just to get the blade low enough to get around the parts where that pole was. And the blade caught and it broke off a piece here. Alright, I could probably fish around and find it and then glue it back in there. But if not, it's not a problem because that's why there's EVA foam, craft foam. So when I'm done, I can go ahead and just cut a piece on there. I can cut some pieces to go around here, put some rivets and stuff to dress this thing up. Pimp it out, if you will. Dress it up, and then it'll cover that hole, and it'll house our gauge. Alright, so that looks pretty cool already. I like that. But anyways, before I get too far ahead, there's a big element that I need, and for that I need Igor!
Yes, master.
So you know what I need, right? Okay, get it.
Of course, master.
Alright, sorry, that's my assistant Igor. He's been working for me for decades. We keep him locked away in a closet and everything. We throw some scrap food and bones at him periodically and stuff, and he periodically runs errands for me. So while he's off getting what I need there, we're going to continue on with this build here. So what I need to do now, have you guys seen these? I know you probably haven't seen this particular thing, but you've seen these, right? What I have comes off of a box of diesel fuel additive that you put in the diesel fuel truck. Well, we use these at work. I'm finding these all the time, and they're great for building props and stuff. So I'll snag them. But what am I going to do with them? I think I'm going to attach them here on each side and then feed it back into itself. Why? Because I have these really cool battery powered lights that I got off of eBay. You probably can't see it, but they illuminate a really beautiful, awesome green. I love these things, and it'll come to life once I turn them on inside there. So what I'm going to have to do is then I have to drill two holes on top to attach this end, which I might use a screw or something or an epoxy, and then come back in, drill a hole here to attach it in there. But before I do all that, what I want to have to do is fish this whole thing through to get this all in there and decide where I'm going to attach that battery pack. Okay, and then we're going to be able to move on from there. So we're not really, I don't really see too many more holes needing to be drilled other than that. So we're going to continue on with this thing and see where it leads us. Anyways, guys, hang tight. Yeah, so I drilled a couple of holes on the top. I was using a little paddle bit over here. I didn't need to do that because of the diameter of the lighting is a lot smaller, so I just went with a smaller hole over here. And then I drilled some holes on the side here, and these just fit right in there really good. So basically, all I need to physically attach is this here. Okay? But before I do all of that, before I put the gauge in place and all this and that, I need to establish where I'm going to put the power pack. Now, this obviously is the front. Okay? I might do a little something with the light switch there to kind of give it more of an aesthetic appeal. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill a little hole in the back here, and then I could Velcro. I've got some Velcro, double-sided Velcro. I could Velcro the battery pack to the back here so you can turn the green lights off and on from the back. Change the batteries or whatever you need to do. Alright, so I need to figure out how I'm going to attach these, whether it be a little screw or some epoxy. But the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and drill that hole here, and then I'm going to go ahead and take it outside. I'm going to paint the whole thing black, give it a base coat. Okay, that's not going to be my end result, but it's going to at least give me a start and something to work off of. So we're going to take care of that right now. Alright guys, and we're back. I went ahead and gave it a base coat of flat black for a primer. I went ahead and spray painted these blue ends. They were blue before. I'm going to take some craft foam and go around the edge of these to cover up the trademarked name that's on there. Okay, and then the last thing that I did was I drilled a little hole here to start fishing the light through. I'm going to go ahead and attach that battery pack in the back here with double-sided Velcro. So I'm going to go ahead and then just go ahead and start fishing this stuff through. Alright, and so I need to come up the front. That's why, another reason why I want to leave that gauge out. Just pull it through. Then I want to kind of fish it up through this side hole here. There we go. Alright, so that's going to come through there. I'm probably going to, the more you go, the more holes you go into, the more it's going to torque on this. So you're going to want to fish the light all the way through to the end, so that you don't want to like put too much torque on this there. It's going to damage you. You're going to lose your light. All right, we've come through there. I'm going to go ahead, take one of these. This end's going to ultimately go in there, so I need to fish it in through this end. Now you might not be able to find this. I don't know. Maybe you can find it. You could probably go to like maybe some municipality where their motor pool might be predominantly all diesel, because they probably use this. Or you could find those toys that they're selling for the kids now that I just explained to you that do this. Or another thing you can use is fish tank tubing. Alright, that'll work too. You go to the pet store and buy a bunch of tubing. You can fish this through that as well. Alright, so now I'm going through that top hole. Grabbing a hold over. Okay, so now I need to come all the way through. I can actually feed this end into the side here. Alright. Now that's going to go down there like that. We're going to be attaching that there. I'm going to come over through on this side. Feed it through this hole. I don't screw around too much here. Playing pin the tail on the mad scientist contraption. There we got what locked out. Alright, so we got that through. And now this end, you gotta remember, this end's going in here, so if I shorten it too, it'll be like a shortcut too. I get through there and just open it up so I can go through there. Voila. Easy peasy. Open it back up. Get it in there. Like that. And then I want to fish this through here. Alright, now at this point in time, if you want to try to loop some back in through, you can. Me, I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to let that flow freely down to the bottom. Alright, so now that's what we've got there. Alright, so now we've created a, you know, it's all fed through. Alright, it's starting to look like something, is it? I need to turn this one because they're both heading in the same direction. If I want, I just might do it too. There's like some notches and there's some holes, probably for air, you know, to not create a vacuum block when they're pouring this stuff. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I could have a cable coming out that's got little alligator clips that can go on the side, so I'm going to check that out because I just came up with that idea, and sometimes the spur of the moment ideas are what can really transform your prop into something a little bit cooler than what you initially thought it was going to be. So this is set. I can go ahead and glue these down now. Alright, I'm going to use some super glue. I'm going to do that, guys, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to deal with this front here, and then we're going to do stuff up here too. We're not done yet. Wait till you see this. So hang tight, guys. This is going to be good.
I'm not getting paid enough for this job. Wait a minute. I'm not getting paid at all. What do I do now? This one will just have to do. Sassafras! That was my good leg.
Alright, guys, and we're back, and as you can see, I went ahead after I fished all that lighting through this contraption here. I just went ahead and glued these down, okay? I'm going to go back through, like I said, with foam. I got some foam work to do down here, but I'm not worried about the appearance yet. We're just doing the assembly first, okay? And I'll tell you what, guys, this is what I found to do something with. You can go to Goodwill, a thrift store, or even on the side of the road. A lot of times you'd be surprised people throw away a perfectly good lamp just because they just don't want to deal with it anymore, you know, so they'll put it out to the curb. You can get an old lamp and take it apart and just salvage the guts and the wire, okay, and then build yourself a box that you can put gauges in if you want to do something similar like this. This is just one idea, okay? So everything's been fished through. Alright, we got our power pack in the back. I'm going to push that through. I still got to attach that yet. Still got to attach the gauge. One thing I did with the gauge was I drilled a hole in it, and I tried to get as close as I could to the front in hopes that when I fed that light in there, hopefully there's some kind of crack or crevice inside to where that green's going to illuminate through the gauge as well. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Alright, but I'm not going to mess with that right now. I got some foam work to do and just some aesthetic work. What we're going to do now is I'm going to continue to build this thing. We're going to get it all where it needs to be, and then we can go back and do the details and the final paint, okay? And hopefully Igor will be back with what I sent him for, because he's going to be getting the most crucial piece to this build, okay? And he's taking a while. Hopefully he'll be here before the end of this video. Anyways, dollar store. It's an awesome place for hunters to get their fodder. Plastic bowls, they have them there. It's like 2 or 3 for $1, okay? This is just a run-of-the-mill plastic bowl. I drilled a hole in it. Simply to go on top here. Alright, and I'm already using the existing thingamabobber that you screw on the top for the lampshade. This is a big one. I don't necessarily need this, but I'm not worried about it because this is going to be hidden with what we're going to do next. So I'm going to screw that down nice and tight, okay? Make sure it looks pretty level, okay? Now, another thing that you get at the dollar store, I've showed you guys this. I've got a video, a standalone film video. Although I'm not 100% happy with that video. I had a different camera then. I think I'd like to maybe shoot it again one day. But these are dollar store wine glasses. You get 6 of them. You're going to want to buy several packages of these. Depending on how many of these you make, I use 2 packages per one, okay? And what is that? All right. Well, what I do is I take these, and you take this piece here, and then your cup, and you know you're supposed to simply put it together to make your little wine glass. Well, I don't do that. I take this, I turn it upside down, all right, and then I turn this the other way, which this is an area you're gonna have to connect it to, all right? So basically, what am I building? I'm building a coil, okay, just like you'd see in a mad scientist laboratory, okay? This is gonna go, and we're gonna glue that right on there, okay? And then I'm gonna get a ping pong ball, or if you can't, they were selling those eyeballs at the dollar store. I think they might be no, maybe they're about the same size, but you could take one of those, and what I do is I paint them antique. First I paint them black, and then I dry brush them antique copper to use as a condenser. Okay, now that's going to be glued on there. All right, and this is all going to be attached to the top. And that's our, where's our little dimple there? That's going to be our lampshade. All right, of course I've got to make sure it's all centered correctly before I, glue everything down, because we want it to be straight. I don't want it to be crooked. So, but what I need to do now is this will not be spray painted black. This will be spray painted a gray primer, okay? And I want it to stay a gray primer because that's typically what is used in the glaze with the porcelain and the real insulators. Most of them you see they're like a gray, okay? So I'm gonna paint this primer and this primer, and then we're going to come back and we're going to be able to assemble it and then work on the aesthetics of this thing. So hang tight. All right, guys, this is what I ended up with. Okay, so I painted it this, and then the bowl a primer color. Okay, and I'm going to leave it at that. You can put a couple of coats just to give it some added protection, but that's what I want, is the primer color for the insulators. Okay, and then I glued that ping pong ball on the top there that was dry brushed antique copper, and I attached that with some E600. Now, be careful when you're designing this thing, because the way mine's set up, you can't take the top off anymore. Alright, because I'm covering this, I'm going to glue this to here. Alright, so you want to make sure that when you have this in place and it's screwed down to what you, in the position you want it to be, make sure you can get a light bulb in there All right, because if this has some flex to it, so I was able to get the light bulb in there, but you might be ended up with something rigid or something and then not be able to do it and then not be able to unscrew it here because this is glued on there. So keep that in mind. These little rods here are a little bit adjustable. You know, you can pinch them and pull them and they will come up and down a little bit. Don't worry if it's like looks crooked when you first assemble it. You can tweak these things to make them look straight. So don't worry about that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue that on top of there and get it into position. Hopefully, like I said, Igor will be on his way. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut some foam to put here inside and then glue the gauge down. Alright, and then I'm going to put some foam around here and then we're going to put some like rivets around here. We can do that here too if we want to. And then I'm going to go ahead and just start dry brushing it. I might want to put something here for the turn knob. I think this is a 3-way actually. And so that it looks, you know, it looks a little nicer than that. And then we're going to get into the painting its final paint scheme. So anyways guys, when next time you see this, it'll be pretty much done with the exception of the paint. I'll do some of that painting with you there, and then and hopefully, like I said, by then Igor will be showing up and we can put that final touch to it and get this bad boy lit up and see what it looks like in the dark. So hang tight guys, we're almost there. Alright guys, and we're back and this is where we're at. For the most part the build is done, but then we're gonna get into like the detail, like the final paint and stuff. Just briefly, I cut a square piece of foam in here, cut a hole in it so that I could fit the gauge in, glued that down, and then I cut strips of foam to cover this border, and then I've used these. Now I've shown you these before, but if you're new here, these are paper fasteners. Okay, you know those little things that you stick in a hole in the paper and you bend them back so that you can put a series of papers together. Paper fasteners. This is a 200 count. It's relatively cheap. I can't actually pound like upholstery tacks in here because it's resin. So this is a good alternative, and this stuff works great on foam, and I'll tell you why. When I get these things, I'll take them, make sure the tab is flat, and I'll take like these needle nose have those cutters on there, and I'll go ahead and I'll get a good crimp going on it as close to the let's call it a rivet as you can. Then I'll bend them back and forth, okay, until it breaks free, leaving me with just this. Okay, now the great thing about this here is there's some, I've cut it as close as I can, but there's still some metal spurs sticking out the back. This stuff is great when it comes to EVA foam, because what I do is I'll put a dab of super glue and then I'll push this into the foam. Now those little prongs there go into the foam, and then with that super glue, it's in there good. These things aren't gonna come off, all right? You're not gonna have to worry about knocking it and for them coming off. So I put some up here and I put a series, and then I just spritzed it with some of the black spray paint. Okay, now, so everything's set to go. One of the things that I like to do, see, I've already spray painted it black. I'm just gonna go and paint the whole thing again with black acrylic. Acrylic by itself on this material is not gonna last. It's gonna scratch off effortlessly. It's not even worth trying, okay? By putting on the black paint, it acts as a primer. You'll find that this will merge with that. It'll be held in place a lot better, and then when we go back to do our dry brushing, it'll lock it in, and you can go ahead and put a a clear coat on it afterwards to protect it. But that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to give it a base coat of black paint. I'm going to let it dry, then we're going to come back and get ready to do the final details. So hang tight guys. Alright guys, and we're back, and there's been a few additions here. So I went and give it a quick little coat there with some more black acrylic. But I had these, and it's funny because I'm a parts and pieces hoarder collector, if you will. I'll find something, and then I'll know, okay, I might be able to use this in a prop or something someday, and then I'll put it away, and then sure enough, one day I'll need it, and then there it is. These cables here, these little alligator clips with the negative and positive, I've had those for years now, sitting in my drawer of junk, thinking that yes, it would be utilized someday for some kind of mad scientist contraption. When I was digging through my stuff, there, lo and behold, was it. So you might not need it now, but if you got the means to store it, put it away, whatever it might be that you might find that could come in handy for building creations like this. Something else I added, the knob here, I just went ahead and wrapped it with some cloth sports tape, the stuff that you wrap tennis rackets with and baseball bats, just so it will take the paint better. And then right there in the middle, I don't know if you can see it or not, I glued a little glass cabochon on a little green eyeball, okay? Just to kind of give it some extra character. I did a little bit of, I gave the alligator clips spray with some black, did a little weathering on the handle. I didn't want a bright red. So now, what I've got here, I've got some gray, light gray, and some black, okay? And get me like a charcoal kind of a color. And then I just want to kind of go through and hit the edges, and then do some like little bits of weathering and dry brushing and stuff like that to make this thing seem like it's got some age to it. You know, that's the key for anytime you look at, you know, historically, when you see a you know, a laboratory or something like that, be it Frankenstein or otherwise, when it comes to the science fiction contraptions like what you've seen in the original Frankenstein, all those creations made by Kenneth Strickfaden, they've all got a very cold and unhospitable, weathered, industrial, possibly even like rusting or patina, we'll call it patina, and that's what really adds the atmosphere to whatever it is that you build. You know, if I left this just flat black, it's too new, it looks too good, it just wouldn't aesthetically work. You know, you really bring things to life when you dry brush them, you know, and I focus mainly just on the raised areas and stuff like that. Here on the lamp portion itself, give it some character. Great thing about, you know, you spray painted it black, and then you put your coat of acrylic over it. Now you'll find that this surface is very, very receptive, and you can work very well with dry brushing, that you can blend it in. If you can soften, you can add some details, okay? So I'll go all the way around this thing with that. The next step that I want to do, because this is all metal in here, sheet metal and rivets and stuff like that, built around this wooden contraption. So I'm going to go ahead and get some Pueblo. I love Pueblo. This is an acrylic paint. This particular one here is made by Folk Art, okay? You can get them at Walmart or anything like that. So this here, I want to have a bit of rust to it, okay? So we're gonna go in here and just start hitting this here, getting down in there a little bit, just on the rivets and corners of the steel plates, because that's what they are, is cut steel to secure this all together. I don't want to go too heavy, just enough to give it some character. Alright, maybe a little on the edge, getting up here in the metal here. I want some on the alligator clips a little bit, not a lot, on those rivets. Okay. You can go, if you want this to be like a metal box, you can go in with you know, a silver, and then dry brush the edges for where there's like chipped paint to reveal that there's steel underneath. There's a lot of stuff. So you paint it however you choose within your taste. It's all gonna depend on what you're trying to go for in your build. Or this doesn't even have to be a build. You could be like a, you know, the weird kid and just love stuff like this as decor year round in my house. You know, I love this kind of stuff. You know, it's always been within my taste. Okay, so now this is done, and Igor, you've returned. You've got what I've asked for. Thank you, Igor.
As you wish, master.
The missing piece. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this. I sent Igor for this, and I told him specifically which one he needed to get. Okay, so that's in place. I need to put my lampshade, I guess you could call it a lampshade, and then put the screw. I might go back and get a smaller screw there just to fasten that. Alright, I'm going to turn it towards me, guys, so I can line this thing up, make sure it's straight. Okay, and then the last part is this here, which I'm going to attach with hot glue. And the reason being is I want to be able to pop it off if I ever need to get in there and adjust, so it's not like a permanent seal. It can be broken to peeled away and then re-glued if needed. Alright, so I'm going to be careful. I'm going to make sure that it's straight. I think that's perfect. Alright, so just that alone, if you set that in your hunt, that would add to your mad scientist thing. But let's get these lights off and see what it looks like, shall we? Check that out, guys. What do you think of that? Does that look cool or what? Now imagine you having some glass beakers, maybe a little additional candle lights or whatnot, a candle burning on a skull, some medical tools, beakers, a few other contraptions. This would fit into any mad scientist theme. Plus it's just a cool light, and we've got, this is like a multi-function light bulb. You've got different themes, and that's just the lights running through those coils, we'll call them. And there we go. So what do you think, guys? I hope you like this, and I hope this inspires you to try something like this. Get creative. There's all kinds of stuff and so many possibilities, alright? So, anyways, guys, if you haven't done so already, check out my brothers Keith from Cobwebs and Candlestick and Vic Springston from Monster Misfits, and please like and subscribe. There's so much more to come, and you'll get notified when I upload future videos.